Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Unclouded. Yes, it is just me today. I apologize. I did promise a guest this week, but I've had some unplanned, unfortunate events this week. I had the flu for 5 days, and now I have bronchitis. So I didn't want to go a week without an episode, especially being so new, and it would drive me crazy. I'm pushing through this evening to get an episode out tomorrow, and I really appreciate you and your patience with me today on this. I will do my best to avoid coughing, and if I do, I will try to remove that so that you don't have to listen to that misery. So, I have always just added things into my notes app as I think of it that I've wanted to eventually speak on. So, I'm going to use that chance today. I will try to keep this to around 25 minutes just to limit me talking to not make my cough worse. So, I will start off with triggers, and I want to start there because it does have to do with kind of my situation. So, everyone can have different triggers and what makes them maybe not exactly think, oh, I want a drink or need a drink right now, but the triggers are kind of more of like, this situation used to happen and I used to drink, or this event used to happen and I would drink at it, or things like that. And then there's some that are very random and very odd, and you don't maybe realize some of them until you feel it. And I have had a couple in the past couple weeks that I wanted to talk about because maybe people can relate. And if you have a trigger that you think there's no way anyone else has this or can relate to this, send a message to me and tell me about it. And I will either give advice, or if I don't feel like I can relate and can't give advice, maybe a guest of mine in the future can. So you're not alone. And if you want help getting through that, just send me a message. And I won't say your name or anything. Everything is always going to be private when you message me. So, a trigger that I recently just realized I have is being sick. As soon as, that feeling of being sick and the cough starts coming and things like that, I realized, whoa, I used to drink Fireball when I would feel this way. And it's like embarrassing to admit, but it's like I would convince myself the like cinnamon heat part of it would like help my throat. Who knows if that was just placebo in my head or not. Then it would cover up the physical symptoms, and it would cover up the mental, emotional symptoms that you get when you're sick. Because this week I have dealt with guilt from missing work during busy time. I've dealt with guilt of not being a 100% functioning mom and spouse. And you're sad. Like, it was a really beautiful day this week, or a few days, and I couldn't enjoy it. So you're just like really bummed out. You start to wonder if you're ever going to feel better when you get like real bad flu like that. I mean, bedridden, body aches, all the things. So it was really tough to get through, but I'm proud of myself. And even though I still feel like crap, I am proud of myself for getting through that. And I just realized I was using it as an excuse to like feel better, quote unquote, but it was really just to cover everything up. And that's what alcohol does. Covers the wounds. It doesn't fix the wounds. You got to deal with the wounds that are underneath and figure out why you're drinking. Why are you covering things up? So then I would wake up the next day and blame the headache on the cold and not the alcohol. Duh. So there's one trigger that I've recently learned about after being almost a year sober, and I'm sure there's going to be some in life that come up that I don't realize until that happens. So another one is last week or the week before, whenever we had that first like 70 degrees day, I was like, whoa. I was definitely a day drinker in the past, and like swimming and playing games outside and watching sports outside on the back TV and things like that. That was always definitely a time that I would drink because we were the ones that would host. I wasn't going anywhere, I wasn't worried about anything. And yeah, like the beginning of the day was fun, but I wouldn't eat all day because I just wouldn't think about it, and I would have too much. And then that led to the horrible consequences in the evening of being upset that I had too much. Why do I keep doing this? Blacking out, feeling like garbage the next day. And it's like, I wasted away a beautiful day by blurring it out, not enjoying the moments and taking those memories in. And then the next beautiful day, I'm wasting away because I'm hungover. When you are sober and you look back at those times, you realize it's not worth it. But in the moment, until you kind of pull yourself out of it, you don't really think that way. So I've been sober for an entire summer. My sobriety started last April, so I've been through a whole summer, but I haven't gone through the transition from winter to spring yet, and that's what we're doing now. And it feels really good to not be running to my garage fridge as soon as I get home on a nice day to play outside with my kids. I'm just running directly to them and going outside to play. And it is wonderful. I don't feel bad the next day at work. It's like weekdays can also be lovely. So there's a couple of my triggers that I'm dealing with recently, and I don't think I've had one since Christmas. So that was nice. That felt really good to realize, deal with it, play the tape forward, which I'm going to get to that. I want to talk about that and move forward with life, all clear headed. So you can get through your triggers. A mental relapse happens before a physical relapse. Deal with it in your head, get through it. Don't grab the drink. Don't do it. You'll be so proud of yourself. Just don't do it. So let's just jump straight into my next thing of playing the tape forward. When I first wanted to be sober, I did struggle with understanding my own thought process of why I would convince myself I could just have one when I knew I couldn't. So, playing the tape forward, a lot of people use this. There's a lot of people that have this tattooed on them. I've considered it very, very helpful. Is if you, I'll just give an example. You're gonna go to a concert tonight. So it's middle of the day, it's super nice out, your friends are all over, you're getting ready, they're having pregame drinks, and you are tempted. Gather yourself, go in a room by yourself, and in silence, I want you to think about how are you gonna feel after that first drink. And yes, maybe your answer is fun and loose and blah blah blah. Keep going. How are you gonna feel after the second drink? After the third drink, because you know you're not gonna stop. How are you going to feel on the way there? How are you going to feel spending a ton of money there and the concert starts blurring? How are you going to feel walking to the car after when you're like, oh no, maybe I shouldn't have done all of that? How are you going to feel in the car ride drunk after? How are you going to feel when you get back to the house or wherever you're staying? Probably not wonderful. And then how are you going to feel the next morning? Are you going to wish that you remembered the show? You're going to wish that you weren't in line for drinks and running to the bathroom and drinking all of that. Are you going to wish you didn't feel hungover? Like, you know how you feel after you drink, you know how you feel the next day. So just play the tape forward, see if it's worth it to you. I'm sure it's not. And that has helped me a lot because my nights would always end in tears. And I'd wake up in the middle of the night, the water, the Tylenol, all the things, trying to catch yourself before you get up the next day, and then still feeling awful in the morning. It's not worth it to me, so you make that choice for yourself. Something else that helped me in the beginning of sobriety was remembering my why. And I actually got a sticker off Etsy for the back of my phone, and I had it on there from April to December, my first year of sobriety, or first however many months that is, and it said, remember your why. And over time, you don't always have to stare at that and always remember it and always tell yourself it out loud and things. But it's a nice reminder no matter what you're doing because it kind of grounds you in that moment of like, this is why I'm sober, because I'm happy, I feel good, I'm healthy, all the things. Because there's a reason we cut alcohol out of our lives. It's not just a random choice you make. There is a reason, whether that be before something bad happens or after something bad happens. So remembering your why, it could be you want to work out more and be healthy. It could be that you want to avoid cancer. It could be that you want to break a generational cycle in your family, that your parents drink a lot and you don't want your kids to drink and you want to break that routine. It could be you want a promotion in your job and you think that these hangovers are holding you back. It could be anything, any reason that you will be a better person without drinking. So there's another thing that helped me a lot in the beginning of my sobriety. So I've got my notes over here on my laptop that I have made for like the last year that I want to talk about. So I'm just going to click a few and just talk about them today. And then whenever I have an episode again that's solo in a while, I have guests booked out till May. I'm so excited. So I'll cover more of these over time. This one was good. It says Unclouded can be a lot more than just being sober. So yes, Unclouded, this is mainly focused on alcohol sobriety and not having the hangovers and being clear-headed all the time and never having to worry about how you'll get somewhere. You can drive at any moment. Like you're always you and you're always being safe and healthy with yourself. So other things that Unclouded could be is anxiety. And we did talk about anxiety a little bit with the therapist last week. And that episode is up if you want to go listen. And a lot of people say their anxiety extremely decreases once they cut alcohol out of their life. Can confirm. So another thing can be sickness, which I talked about. Sickness makes you not yourself. I felt so wrong this week and gross and couldn't even hardly send a text back. My mind was just not working. But I pushed through without drinking. I got my medicine, and here I am talking even with bronchitis because I feel motivated all the time, even if I'm sick. Okay, and then worries, which those go along with anxiety, depression definitely can cloud you. Absolutely can cloud you. And that is not something I am extremely knowledgeable with, but maybe we can get someone to talk about depression because the statistics do show also that cutting out alcohol can help with depression as well. Another thing that can really mess with your life is your sleep. Hopefully, you get good sleep. I have extremely vivid dreams all the time and have never gotten answers for those. I don't know why, but I sleep better now without alcohol, but the dreams are still there and I don't exactly know why. So those do leave me a little clouded in the mornings, and maybe I'll learn eventually something about dreams and everything on here as well with people that we'll have on to talk about certain topics. Okay, let's find a good one. I'd love to have someone on to talk about habit replacing. That you get a new habit when you stop drinking, and just making sure that it's a healthy and a good habit, not a bad habit that you are shoving into your life just to remove alcohol. So, another thing with moderation, that's what a lot of people try to do when they first realize that they need to try to cut alcohol out or at least limit themselves. And what I will say is if you are trying to control alcohol, it is already controlling you. And that is very true because you're trying to cut back. So, you're sitting here in your mind, you're making a schedule. I'm only going to drink on weekends or at special events or on date nights. And that's kind of what I tried to do. But then I realized I was blurring and not remembering our date nights. What's the point? And then I feel bad the next day. Or the weekend thing. You work all week. You're telling me you want to feel your best all week just to drink all weekend? So I say that like it's like I know better, but I did that. So looking back, it seems kind of like, what was I thinking? So you don't want to always plan around when you're going to drink because then it's controlling your mind and you're not just going and enjoying these things that you should be enjoying with a clear head. Oh, yeah, I typed on here one night. One day you'll realize you're drinking too much and you feel like garbage and you've been fighting a battle against yourself and the alcohol is winning. That day you'll think, maybe I need to stop, and you have to listen to that inner voice because your life will change for the better. And some nights I couldn't sleep and I would just put notes on here that I knew eventually I wanted to speak about. So some of these are super old and it's fun to look at the things that went through my mind and thought about in the beginning of my sobriety. But sometimes you don't realize you need to cut alcohol out completely until you give it a try. So easier said than done. But if you're someone that's like, I don't have a problem, but it does make me feel bad when I do drink, try a month. If you didn't do dry January, try, I don't know, you don't have to wait for like the first of a month to try something. So give it a try now. Try this weekend. Don't drink. Go do something fun and don't drink and see how you feel. And then maybe you'll be like, I actually was having more than I thought I was, and it feels really good to not drink. You'll see how much time and progress and everything and how you view things will change for the better. I said, I used to chug water to hydrate before drinking, and now I chug water for the health reason. Oh goodness, I'm glad I can joke about some of this stuff. Okay, I thought of something good. St. Patrick's Day is coming up. This is a touchy topic for me, but I want to be honest and vulnerable with you guys always. So, this will probably be the last thing I do. My throat is really starting to hurt. St. Patrick's Day holds some of my worst drinking day slash nights, worst regrets, worst actions of my own. So it's just a day where you are drinking all day long. Everyone around you is drinking all day long. So no one is like, hey, maybe you've had too much, because it's just a day that everyone is doing it. And I do like beer, and I know a lot of people don't, but it's very heavy. So it kind of clouds your thought of, I need to eat, unless you are told to eat or you're brought a menu at a bar or something. So beer all day, shots throughout, an insane amount of alcohol. So 2 St. Patrick's Days ago, I believe. Yes. The year before I got sober. It was actually a few months before my first light bulb I need to look at my relationship with alcohol moment was. So this was still full on Brie drinking, blackout drinking. We were in Indy with friends. And the friend I'm going to talk about is definitely like, oh gosh, here we go. I love you. So we were in Indy at a friend's house, getting ready, drinking, of course. And I think I had one slice of pizza, and it's like still light out. And we're taking shots. And if you knew me back then, I knew my kids were in a safe place 2 hours away. I knew I was staying the night at this place, and we had Ubers. So my brain off, gone, basically can't stop me. And so, of course, taking as many shots as we can before the Ubers come. Think we went straight to this one place, and we were there the whole time. I might be wrong. I think we went to this very large bar restaurant, had pool tables, live music, all the things. And we had our own big table. 10 of us, maybe. That's a guess. I'd say 10. Of course, the first thing we sit down, shots or ordered. And we've all got our fun green outfits on, our glasses, all the fun. And it did start off fun. We're dancing with the live music, we're sitting at the table, we're all chatting. And I don't know at what point I just slipped into oblivion, gone. And we were all just joking around, having fun, taking pictures and everything. And I won't get in the details and things like that. But when you are drunk, like drunk, you can hear something someone says and hear it they could have said like, and you think they said like, F you, whatever. Because I still to this day don't know exactly the words that were said by someone that then got someone else kind of fired up, that then I thought got my husband mad, and then I trigger reacted and was like mad at that person. I still don't know to this day what was said. I don't really want to know or need to know. But the way I reacted was completely out of line. I have apologized so many times, but the person that I thought made my husband mad, which then I thought made him mad at me. I went up to her. They weren't married yet. They were about 2 months away from being married. And I was a bridesmaid in the wedding, like one of my best friends. It's like the middle of the night now. Blast the whole time, and then this happened. I went up to her in her face and I said something along the lines, I don't know the exact words, but the point was, I said, I am not going to be in your wedding. Something about being mad at him, hating him, which I don't. I love them to death, like with everything in me. I looked at her and I said, I'm not going to be in your wedding. She could have walked away from me right then and there and never spoke to me again. And I would deserve that. And it's like, it still haunts me to this day. And she has the biggest heart on the planet Earth that she forgave me. And I was in her wedding. It was absolutely gorgeous, beautiful. But the point of this is just that when you let yourself have too many and get too far, you can ruin a relationship in a split second and never get it back. I'm extremely lucky that didn't happen to me, but it's that easy. It is also that easy to make any kind of mistake when you're a blackout drinker. Or, I mean, even just drunk because your brain isn't functioning normally. And we all know that. You could drive. We don't even want to get into what can happen there. You can say something wrong. You can say something to the wrong person. You can literally ruin any relationship in one night. So I just want to point that out. If you're going into St. Patrick's Day and you plan on drinking, I would really hope that you take an off year and maybe offer to be DD, maybe witness all your friends and how they act. Maybe just be the DD for 1 year, just see how it goes. And I bet at 10 o'clock you're going to be like, this is crazy, and I'm going to go home. And you're going to be like eating yummy food, watching your show, and the next day they're all going to call you and be complaining about each other. If you are going to drink, please take it slow. Please eat. Please be responsible. And I just don't really have much advice for if you're going to drink, because I would really recommend not drinking this year and just see how it goes. So there's some lessons to learn from me, that you can ruin something in a split second because of alcohol. And I'm just very appreciative that my friends know that what I would say when I was blacked out was not truly from my heart. And I very lucky to have them. Let's find one more note and then I will wrap this up. Okay, this kind of connects with that. There's a difference between your intention and your plans and what actually happens. You plan on a good night with your friends and you end up hammered and fight. You walk away all dramatic. Then the next day, you're on an apology tour, searching through your phone and having all the regrets. So alcohol has high expectations and extremely low results. That note went perfectly with the story I just told. So we will just call it a day there. The world tries to romanticize alcohol and it's just not cute. It's fading. It's not not fun, and why do we destroy ourselves with it? So thank you guys for listening. Thank you for dealing with my voice today and your patience. We will have Emily on next Friday, the one that was supposed to be with us today. And like I mentioned earlier, I do have guests booked out every single week through May. I am super excited and I'm so grateful for all of you. And if you have any questions or want anything to be talked about on the podcast or asked of our guests, please just email me at uncloudedpod@gmail.com and follow me on Instagram at Brie Marshall with 4 L's. Please hit follow and subscribe on here as well. And now that I have a few episodes out, you can rate me 5 stars. I would appreciate it. Y'all have a good week.